Tom, we're back with another set of new series reviews. This is going to be the first one we record over the next couple weeks because Shonen Jump is debuting 3 new series. Spoilers for not the previous batch that we covered, which was Under Dr. Kanado's Magic and Alien Headbutt, but the set before that, which was Gone Run Egg, Mage Next Door, and Hero Girl and Demon Lord Call It Quits. Those were a bunch of failures.
They all got canceled.
Well, 2 of them are canceled, and Hero Girl and Demon Lords got maybe 1 to 2 more chapters. They didn't cut it. But this is what it is about. This is how it works. If you want to have a new exciting IP, you got to try something. You got to try new shit, and sometimes it works. And sometimes it doesn't. And this is why I respect Shueisha. They get a lot of hate online from people who are like, "Oh, I invested all this time. I invested an hour into reading the series, and now it's canceled." And I'm like, I get it. I understand. I've been hurt by cancellations, but also like, I don't know. I don't think you get a series like Someone Hurts if it's not for a magazine that's willing to try or take risk or be like, oh, this is interesting. Let's see if people connect with this. But anyways, this is our first of 3 in this new batch, which is Roku's House of Oddities. It's brought by the creator of Gravity Boys, his previous Shonen Jump series, Atsushi Nakamura. Gravity Boys went for about 51 chapters, so a decent year-long run. It's well liked in the States, or at least from a Western perspective. Gravity Boys seems to have a decent follow, like a people who read it seem to be into it and are ready to clown with this guy's next series. And basically, Roku's House of Odyssey is essentially the plot synopsis. If you haven't read it, if we're coming at you with the new series, it stars Seiroku Akari, who is basically he's in his science club at his high school, trying to prove that he's in a bet with the occult club that these spirits, the tales of Kokubunji in Tokyo it's a bunch of horse wash. It's a bunch of nonsense. Well, it turns out that it's not, and 5 spirits ended up getting summoned at his home to sort of kind of move in and live with them. 5 curses move in with them. Before we kind of get into like the beat for beat of the first chapter, Tom, what were your like first impressions of this new series?
Well, well drawn, like just really
Definitely
clean, like a professional was drawing this. 2, funny, like definitely like a silly tone. I think it got funnier as it went along.
Yeah, I agree. Way too heavy in the dialogue in the first half, I think. 3,
I think, is just a little too convoluted of a premise right now, and so we didn't actually get to establish like what to expect with it because the premise was a little much. Like honestly, I almost wish we didn't even have like this main guy being the initiate. I don't know. I get it partly, but like it kind of reminded me of What We Do in the Shadows, like that American TV show. Like, and that's more like focused on the curses, and then sometimes normal people come and interact with them, but they already live together and they have their own rapport. This one, I'm not sure how that. Like, it's kind of confusing. Like, honestly, like it's just it's a very confusing first chapter.
Yeah, and a part of me feels like much, I think. This might be a series too, because again, all the 5 spirits are based on this like horror story or this Tokyo. Again, it's the tales of Kokubunji. If you lived in Tokyo, maybe if you're a Japanese native, you're familiar with this story. And I think we had so the 5 spirits. I got their names right here. There's Johann, who's the first. He's like a vampire. He looks like Alucard. He looks like Dracula. He's like a foreigner. He's kind of in a nice getup. Kind of talks in a very like holier than thou like type of way. Then there's Sachiko, who looks like she's from The Ring. Like a long hair, like girl in like a school's uniform, like a high school girl. Then there's my favorite, Kabaneji, who is a guy with a mask who basically immediately starts going in the kitchen and cooking some stuff up. He just seems like he's like the type of character I'm always into in these series, like the weirdo guy. Then there's Gavaudon, if I'm pronouncing that right. He's the doggy. He's the big wolf dog. And then the last one is Ultra, who's like the doll who doesn't speak, who's mute, and basically just kind of makes this sort of stone face. And they're basically how it's established. It's pretty confusing how it's all described. But the main character, Roku, performs this ritual to summon them. But he explains that he didn't really do it right. He kind of just did the high school low budget version of it's also referred to as the 5 nights, which my gamer brain started fucking going off the wall.
I know. I actually had that same joke in my head of like
like, where's the purple guy?
Yeah.
Where's Chica and Bonnie? So he basically explains that he kind of just half-assed did the rituals, but that was enough to summon them and basically partially free them of their captivity, but they're not like totally free where they can like move on to the afterlife. He's basically the curse. He's their curse master. As how it's described, which again, because I've been reading this shit for long enough, Tom. If he's a curse master, that means there's other motherfuckers in Japan that are also curse masters.
I will say, now kudos to you. You're a shonen guy through and through, and you love this shit, right?
Yeah.
I've never done this before. Of like, hey, until the show, like, hey, new series. Let's read the first chapter. We kind of started doing this. We want to cover every new series. I'm so like I felt reading this one, really felt the like beleaguered by the Shonen Jump chapter 1 like kind of mania these poor mangaka put themselves in to like set it up and get to the premise and the hook that I feel like it really hurts storytelling quality.
A part
like,
of me
for the Shonen Jump chapter 1s, like it's almost like they're forced to be bad because of how like the pressure. All I'm feeling reading this is the pressure of like getting shit out because of the Shonen chapter 1 formula, and it's a little exhausting to me.
Definitely, and we've seen a few different ways to do it. So like with Under Doctor, for those who watched our previous set of new series reviews, Under Doctor is very one-shotty. Like, it's kind of a complete story, the first chapter, and it's mainly just to introduce you to the main character and kind of what you're going to expect from the series. Medical stuff, and then some shonen action thrown in the mix too. And then you have things like Kanado's Magic, which is more about the call to adventure and kind of setting that up. But like I've been reading that and I feel like week to week it's not really felt like the first chapter really at all.
That's what I'm saying. There's just an anxiety you can just get from these first chapters because you just feel the pressure of getting to where they need to go in a way that I think like does a disservice to the manga. That it might be good, but right now I'm pretty kind of cold on it because it's just I wasn't like getting lost in the story. I was like almost rooting for this guy or something to like get through this first chapter. Like let's see where like it's too mechanic-y.
There's way too much setup and plan. Honestly, a part of me feels like maybe the story would have been better if he just woke up and they were there and it's 50 pages of them just fucking around in his house. Because what I read about A Gravity Boys before reading is that A Gravity Boys is like it's similar to like a Witch Watch in a sense where it's gag comedy. It's like a comedy focused series first, and then there's a little bit of action on the side. This kind of seems like it's that way because again, like the curse to curse master shit, very Zatch Bell. Like, okay, there's gonna be other people who have curses that live with them, and there's gonna be some rivalry type shit with that. Like, I've been around the block, Tom. I know how this goes. But again, like we just gotta see. Definitely, I feel like this was, of all the new series reviews we've done, I feel like this is the one where I'm like, man, I really need to read like a few more chapters to really even understand like what the series is really going for. Just because we're really just trying to get through all this setup and
the setup isn't particularly great. Like that's the problem with it, I think.
It's confusing. I thought it was kind of confusing. Yeah. And they explain it at the end. Basically, he's got to find out the backstory behind these 5 curses, because as Johan, the first curse, the vampire guy, explains to him, he's like, curses are not inherently bad. Like human malice is in negativity in the human world is what causes these curses to be negative and hurt people or kill people and shit like this. And they don't really want to necessarily be that way. So it's basically about him kind of figuring out how they became curses and then sort of solving that and being able to sort of free them and get him out of his life in that sense. I wasn't super into this one. I'm gonna keep reading it. I'm gonna keep reading it.
Well, of course.
Because of course. But Tom, I gotta ask you, because we do this every time we do shit. Are you gonna read chapter 2? Are you gonna read chapter 2?
I just want to do one more thing and say, like the art.
The art's very nice.
Reads like a very well drawn popular manga series, and I actually really did like it. But that's gonna be a no. But I could see it getting better. I'm worried that honestly, reading chapter 1 of any Shonen Jump manga is going to be a tough one. Unless it's one that really like nails it's just a great like Dr. Stone-esque, like just got a great hook concept that like gets you going. But like these chapter 1s just feel almost doomed to fail.
And honestly, even Dr. Stone's first chapter is a little sussy baka because it follows a totally different character. Basically, that goes through one of the best shonen pivots of all time. Where
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a bad example then. Yeah,
we switch main characters like 12 chapters into the story in Dr. Stone.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with it. It sounds like it could be something lighthearted and fun, and like whatnot, and something worth reading as something just fun to read. But
and sometimes you got to give it, unless you're a freak like me, where you're just dedicated to the Shonen Jump grind set. Honestly, I think with most of these series, give it like a volume, give it like 7-8 weeks, and then read through the first volume of material, because usually at that point you're able to get a good grasp of what's going on with what's going on with the series. Because with a recent series, we talked about Kanado's Magic. We both weren't super crazy about it. It was my least favorite of the 3. Now that we're like 10 or so chapters in, and it's a bit more established, and we have a few more characters that we're playing around with, I'm like a bit more in. I'm like a bit more.
That was
into
another
it.
one that like just did a bunch of like weird, kind of really like lame, stereotypical, like easily like this is the childhood friend character and this is that character, like that almost goes against it, but it feels like it has to rush to these things just so like Shonen Jump.
It's the big speed run. It's the crazy big speed run.
They all feel like just like I'm chugging this story in a way that like I can't even.
I'm trying to think of some newer-ish series that were. Hold on, let me just consult the iPad.
Here's an example. What's the one with the Someone Hurts?
Someone Hurts.
That's a really good first chapter.
I agree.
I think it's because it's slower, and I think it's slice of life, so it doesn't have to like the hook's pretty. They get to like explore a few loops of the hook. Like it's not just once. Like you get to really feel it. I don't know. I don't want to. We don't have to get belabor into that, but it just there's a Shonen Jump chapter 1 syndrome that you're probably well experienced with, that I am grappling with for the first time. That I'm sure. Hope it'll be exciting when a chapter maybe overcomes that, and then it's like, oh, this is actually might be special since they were able to like navigate this perilous, pressurized chapter.
Yeah, and even too, like sometimes like when there's a chapter 1 that's really good, sometimes it's like because there's sometimes like there's a chapter 1 where like Akane Banashi, which is great, which is a fucking awesome series. That first chapter basically follows a completely different fucking character, follows her dad as kind of the main sort of character of the first chapter to set up
again, it took its
stakes
time.
of the story. And it takes its time. But also like chapter 1 to chapter 2 is a pretty radical, like we're taking a big step. And you have, for every time it works in a thing like Akane Banashi, you have a chapter like that, like with Earthchild, which is like, I fucking hate that manga. That shit sucks. But the first chapter is fucking awesome. It's fucking really, really good, but it's totally different from the rest of the fucking series. So sometimes that can happen. I will definitely be reading it. I'll continue to read it every week. And my hope is that it settles into, if it's like a funny kind of comedy series with occasional like heartwarming moments with him and the curses,
like that,
I could be fucking down with that. I'm down with that. And I think some of the jokes, especially in the second half, when the mask guy's cooking and the dog is just taking up all this space, and the vampire is trying to pay respects to his parents before immediately taking over their bedroom. Like that shit's funny. Yeah. That had me chuckling. But let us know what you thought of Roku's House of Oddities, if you think it's going to stick around in the magazine, or if you were a fan of Atsushi Nakamura's previous series, Gravity Boys. I'd also like to hear what you thought of that as well. Because we were talking about space earlier in the segment. If you think we should read that, but yeah, stay authentic.